I'm going to show you codes pertaining to the day of the Lord, which is found in Joel chapter 2, which they did code, and I will show you Lot's wife turning into a pillar of salt, which they're coding heavily, and dates I'm seeing in the Illuminati communications that are at a fever pitch and are repeatedly coding Halloween 11/1, 11/2, and 11/5. I am seeing October 31st, November 1st, 2nd, and 5th. I am not sure which date is correct or if something will happen on all of those dates. Since the Illuminati know we are watching and know we have realized they communicate in Gematria codes, they do sometimes put out fake code. I do have to be careful as we all get let down when a date doesn't happen when we are anticipating a date. But I did pray for confirmation, and the confirmations I received make me want to go ahead and share this with you. We're all watching Heshvan 17 as it is the day of the flood, but if that day comes and goes, these dates are ones to consider due to the Illuminati heavily messaging about these dates the last few days. Sign number 1, I was praying for confirmation about November. Is this true, Lord? Should I share with my subs? I don't want them to be let down again. Right in the middle of my prayer, I saw David Bowie in my mind's eye, clear as day. David Bowie equals 1684. Remember, the 5th of November also equals 1684. That was a confirmation to 11/5, and I've been seeing it a lot.
It is our responsibility to deal with climate change.
You can imagine something different.
We have people from all over the world here to do one thing, bring you hope.
Do we want to look back and...
The code I received from the Lord when praying last night, 10:20, was David Bowie's face. Saw his face flash in my mind's eye very clearly when praying. It interrupted my prayer. David Bowie equals 1684. Remember, the 5th of November equals 1684. Remember equals 474. And minutes equals 474. 100 minutes is featured prominently in Obama's 1023 Dear Earth program. I am seeing Halloween, November 1, November 2, and November 5th. And I'm sure it'll become clear soon as why I see November 2nd the most. Obama's program Dear Earth, 284. Now 284 equals 911. aka September 11th. So I entered September 11th in there instead and found that September 11th equals the same gematria for November 1st, which they are coding heavily. So I believe that those codes lead to their true meaning, which is November 1st, which we'll see in other communication. If there was 3 days of darkness, 11/2 to 5 would make sense, which is perhaps why we're seeing 11/2 and 11/5 heavily. They could go underground November 1st. The next sign I prayed for on 10/20 is this. Second sign, when praying a third time before bed, I saw a needle and heard a loud voice in my head, "Do not poke it." Weird. I knew it was a numerical gematria code because this is how he speaks to me to confirm. Distinguishing between my own thoughts and the Lord's messages is easy. The messages I get are loud and jolt my head and literally just get dropped in my head out of nowhere in between the words that I'm hearing myself pray. I know it's not my own brain or voice, it is his, as it jolts and interrupts my train of thought and interrupts words I'm praying. It's like a word or phrase literally being dropped in my head. Do not poke it equals 478. planet alignment equals 478. There'll be a planet alignment on November. Uranus will be in opposition on November 4th and 5th. Earth will be in between the Sun and Uranus November 4th and 5th, placing us squarely in the middle of the best time of year to see this outer planet. When planets are in opposition, this is what it looks like. So the planet dot there will be Uranus. So you see how the Earth and the Sun and Uranus will all be lined up. Another sign which confirmed this to me and makes me feel like I can go ahead and proceed to share it with you is an odd symptom I've been having for months, and it's gotten way worse in the last few weeks. I am having hot flashes and sweating many times throughout the day, profuse sweating for hours every day. These are menopause symptoms, yet I'm only 40. Menopause symptoms equals 249. Heshvan 27 is 249. Heshvan 27 is November 2nd. A speculation for why I'm seeing both 11.2 and 11.5 heavily is the prophetic 3 days of darkness. We see that a third of the moon and a third of the sun was struck, and a third of the day was without light. So that could be 3 days without light. We have the plagues of Egypt. There was 3 days of darkness. And so we can only assume in the last days that it will mirror what happened in the plagues of Egypt somewhat. Now for the last loud phrase, I'm actually going to add one more after this because I remembered another one. Spoke in my head. I knew it was him and not my thoughts. The messages come in loud and jolting and interrupt other thoughts or words I'm praying. It is clear to me when it happens. When praying a fourth time, I heard the phrase, "But you didn't even say anything." Weird random sentence. I knew it was a Gematria code. Loud and clear, dropped into my head. I was like, okay, Lord, what does this mean? I looked it up in Gematria. But you didn't even say anything equals 2955. Here we find a code, 1177. Okay, so let's take the 11 out because we know that's November. And then 77 equals 1050. And then 2 also equals 1050. So it is a code for 11-2 or November 2nd. That same night I'd been praying for confirmation regarding if the November dates were correct. After I received those loud messages in my head, I woke up the next morning and my husband proceeded to tell me a dream he had. Now, I'm not going to tell you what portion of the military he was in, but he was in special forces, you would say, and he has dreams about missions all the time, and I find them very cute. Anyway, he had a dream that he was on a mission to retrieve a golf club because there was something about this golf club that was important and they had to find it. So now I'm going to show you the Gematria for the golf club and what it means. Golf club is equal to 308. So if February 27th is the 58th day with 308 days remaining on a leap year. Okay, so 308 is connected to 227. This year, November 2nd, is 227 on the Jewish calendar. Now, cherished ones, let me show you the Illuminati communications regarding these dates, of which they've been doing heavily for a few days now.
Renowned American artist Spencer Tunick. It has hundreds of participants undressing for a campaign to raise awareness about the receding waters of the Dead Sea. Take a look at the visuals on your screen. Hundreds of ghostly figures of men and women, painted head to toe in white.
Painted head to toe in white equals October 31st. Both are 250.
White. Standing in the middle of the Israeli desert. This is not any other photo shoot. It featured white body paint on the nude.
White body paint equals the 1st of Kislev. 1st of Kislev is the 11/5 date. So far I'm showing you they're doing 10/31, November 2, and November 5. I do have a concern that Obama's event on 10/23 to 11/2 is 10 days. Revelation says we will have 10 days of tribulation. This is why I'm urgent in this message going out. If any of you are cast in prison, you know why. It'll be 10 days to salvation. That is if this information is correct. Heshvan 17, day of the flood, 10/23, 10 days to 11/3, or 10/24 is 10 days to 11/2.
Paint on the nude volunteers to emulate salt pillars.
The art director is twisting his words, doing phonetic coding. Listen carefully.
I'm going to be I'm going to be
He said, I'm going Nuvbi.
I'm going to be using
Using, spelled the way it sounded, is equal to 1200, is equal to 27th. November 2 is Heshvan 27th. Here is the English word using. Using. He interjected Novbi or Novbi in between his words. Novbi is November 2, and Uzine equals the 27th, which is November 2. November 2 is Heshvan 27.
and working with the brave participants to form salt pillars, and also it references the biblical story of Lot.
The biblical story of Lot equals the same code as America will fall. I've been seeing that code all day.
Salt pillars, which reference the salt pillars formed by springs.
By springs? Sounds like a question.
Which reference the salt pillars formed by springs.
So here's the code with the word question, because he obviously made question sound, is 603. we're interested in the reverse, which is 306. He added the question intonation where it did not belong so that the Gematria code could be 603. 603 reverse 306 is what we're interested in because November 2nd is the 306th day of the year and they do code in reverse.
In the Dead Sea,
Dead Sea equal to Halloween. Samhain ends on November 1.
when fresh water enters the Dead Sea.
This here is a code within a code. You'll find November 2 in one of the codes here, or 11-2 actually. So 11-2, and then the rest of the code is Pentecost 1000. So we're going to separate it to see what it says about 11-2 or November 2. Okay, so let's take out the 2 and take out the 11 and see what we get. Take out the 11 and take out the 2, we have Pentecost 1000. That equals saints are raptured. I sure hope this is true. We will have to see. I did receive confirmation on those dates. I'm hoping that that is what it is. I'm going to go to the Daily Mail codes. They have been coding salt, pillars of salt, and also the dates that I told you before. They did a whole Daily Mail article about Tori Spelling holding a legal notepad and what she had scribbled on the notepad. They called it a legal pad. Pad is 58, and that is because 227, which is 11-2, is 227 would be the 58th day of the year on our calendar. Then they showed and explained the words that she had written on the legal pad. They're right there. I took them into the Gematria calculator. Those are all the words. The Gematria was 418, pillar of salt equals 457, April 18 equals 457. The Gematria of all the words on the pad were 418. So April 18th equals the same Gematria as pillar of salt. April 18th, 457, pillar of salt, 457. They are going heavily on this lot theme along with the pillar of salt and Sodom and Gomorrah. The article goes with the last one as far as pillar of salt coding. They're wearing black outfits and Mickey ears. Mickey equals 457. April 18th equals 457. And that's what we saw on Tori's notepad. Their codes are always congruous when they are coding something. So all of those words equals pillar of salt, Mickey, and April 18th, which was what we saw in the Tori Spelling article. They are definitely coding pillar of salt. They look a little stern-faced and worried to me. How about you? Kris Jenner is holding a coat and she's pointing at it with her finger. The coat is the code. You see that right there. It's a pink furry coat. Sorry, it's a hot pink furry coat, and that equals the same code as November 1st. They wanted to make sure that everyone knew what date they were talking about, so they used another code that equaled November 1st. The edgy combat boots that they showed equals November 1st as well. Both are 996 in Gematria. Cynthia is wearing an NA on her shirt, and we all know that that stands for salt. NA equals salt. Can they be any more clear? Lot's wife, pillar of salt, equals 250. We've seen that a lot, haven't we? October 31st is 250. Maybe that's why they're coding October 31st. Okay, here's an article with, anyway, it shows she's wearing a patterned maxi skirt that equals 227. Look, there's that code again. 11.2 is Heshvan 27, which is 227. Stated she was wearing a black and white striped bucket bag. I'll show you later. So you see here, code is 1791. That equals November 30 birth. Okay, so we see this code November 30 birth, and that is from her this black and white striped bag code. So black and white striped bucket bag, and then that equals November 30 birth, or born, sorry. But if you change it to November 30th born, then we get this code. They must have a way to tell each other when to add the TH, because La Palma volcanic eruption 1503 is equal to the November 30th born code. La Palma volcano erupted just happens to be 227. 11.2 is 227. Could this be what they're alerting about? Daily Mail had an article where a bunch of celebrities brought their son to a recent game. Son is 58 in the original Hebrew, as you can see here. So, November 3rd, there's 58 days left in the calendar, or 227 is the 58th day of the year. 227 is 11.2. You can see here how many times they showed pictures of different various celebrities' sons accompanying their parent. So the code here is son for 58. Again, 58 is 227. And then Carly Johnson wrote the article, and they featured Jack Nicholson. Son is the code here. Son is 58 in Hebrew, and 227 is the 58th day of the year. November 2nd is 227 in the Hebrew calendar. Can't remember the celebrity's name, but they featured an article of him in Hawaii. Hawaii is 306. November 2nd is the 306th day of the year. It keeps showing up over and over and over again. DM article, Shawn Mendes brings his dog Tarzan for a walk. Tarzan is 722, which is 227 backwards. Again, showing that again. 227 is November 2nd. Live with Kelly and Ryan exhibiting strange behavior, dancing backwards.
Don't you ever dance again.
Dancing backwards equals 1105, so November 5th, again, we're seeing that code. I don't know why they're coding 11.2 and 11.5, but it is 10 days from 10.23 or 10.24 to 11.2.
today.
You're in Paisley.
He said Paisy, which is not even a word, but Paisy equals America is destroyed. Like I said, I've been seeing that code over and over again.
Wearing autumnal colors.
Beyond my fashion knowledge.
Here they start doing their phonetic babbling, occult jibber jabber. I can't really make out what they're saying, but they're obviously sending messages to each other using these phonetic babbling words.
Dish and I are wearing our autumnal colors.
Your autumnal
Colors.
patterns.
Yes. Dish and I are wearing our autumnal colors.
Your autumnal
Colors.
patterns.
Yes. This is our jam.
Is this your
This is our
ringtone?
jam. Jam.
Is this your
This is our
ringtone?
jam. Jam.
Is this your
This is our
ringtone?
jam.
Like I said before, they disguise words and mispronounce our words into their own words. Ringtone jam is equal to 726, and 726 is equal to 11.2. You can see that 11.2 is 726, and ringtone jam, he clearly did not say the E at the end, is 726, so 11.2.
Is your
By the way,
couple's
Gilman,
ringtone?
I don't.
Is your
By the way,
couple's
Gilman,
ringtone?
I don't ever want.
Ever is the code for November as an NOV. Ever is 790, and NOV is 790. And that's right after he said couples. He was acting really weird too. They always act weird when they're coding something.
Did you?
So he was about to say, did you back it up? But right when he said, did you back? She interrupted him at BA and crossed her legs. So she was looking down at her legs to let them know that was part of the code. Did you BA cross legs equals 1105. There was just so much in there, and just for the sake of time, I can't show you anything now. We're going to switch to Ellen with Gwyneth Paltrow. They were coding the same things. We'll code November 2, Joel 2, and I'll prove it to you. They do it in 2 parts, okay? They'll use a second code to back up the fact that they are speaking about Joel chapter 2.
Do you remember that?
I remember perfectly.
What do you remember?
I think I was pregnant with my daughter, who's now 17 years old.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe season 2 then.
They were a little sneaky with this code. So who is now 17 years old, okay? And I found this code with November in it. I knew they were talking about November too. So what I did is I subtracted, so I took November out, and then that total 2775, I subtracted the Jewish value for which is 10 for 2, which is 1050, so I could see what the code really revealed, right? So it leaves me with 1725, and that's where I found the Joel 2 code, right? But what they do later will verify that that is the code they were hiding. The code that they were hiding, who is now 17 years old, November 2, Joel 2, okay? So they're going to back this up in just a second to prove that I'm correct, that this is what they coded. November 2, Joel 2, 3687, who is now 17 years old. The way she said that was obviously coded. Next, they specify the code that they meant Joel 2.
Then. Yeah.
Maybe season 2.
Yeah.
B season 2 equals 1764. Joel 2 equals 1725. Then she says yeah afterwards, which equals 39. 1764 minus 39 is 1725, which is the value for Joel 2.
My daughter, who's now 17 years old.
Yeah, look at us.
What am I wearing?
Been using white shirt as a code elsewhere. White shirt, a lot, by the way, is 1309. Volcano erupt, 1309. Perhaps this is what they are concerned about. Blow the trumpet in Zion, sound the alarm on my holy hill. Let all who live in the land tremble, for the day of the Lord is coming. It is close at hand, a day of darkness and gloom. A day of clouds and blackness, like dawn spreading across the mountains. A large and mighty army comes, such as never was in ancient times, nor ever will be in ages to come. Before them fire devours, behind them a flame blazes. Before them the land is like the Garden of Eden. Behind them a desert waste. Nothing escapes them. They have the appearance of horses. They gallop along like cavalry, with a noise like that of chariots. They leap over the mountain tops like a crackling fire consuming stubble, like a mighty army drawn up for battle. At the sight of them nations are in anguish, every face turns pale. They charge like warriors, they scale walls like soldiers, they all march in line, not swerving from their course. They do not jostle each other, each marches straight ahead. They plunge through defenses without breaking ranks. They rush upon the city, they run along the wall, they climb into the houses like thieves, they enter through the windows. Before them the earth shakes, the heavens tremble, the sun and moon are darkened, the stars no longer shine. The Lord thunders at the head of his army, his forces are beyond number, and mighty is the army that obeys his command. The day of the Lord is great, is dreadful, and who can endure it? I'm asking for your help. This is going to be on my BitChute channel and also on my backup channel, but I only had 600 subs subscribed so far to my backup channel. If you feel led and if you feel that this is important to share, please do share on the other channels where our brothers and sisters congregate, and please let them know that my video is on my backup channel, and please give them my backup channel, send them a link to my backup channel. If you could just drop the link or tell people how to find me, if you feel led by the Holy Spirit that people need to hear this message, because I have 30,000 subscribers that are not going to hear this message, and I am concerned. I received a 2-week strike and a 2-week timeout for trying to get the message out about the Mark of the Beast, so I cannot post on my main channel. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great day.